This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. This is my preview of the Wales-South Africa match coming up this weekend. This is a very unusual game in that it falls outside the international window, which is when players are allowed to leave their clubs. So it's interesting in the fact that a lot of players are unavailable because of their club duties. Also, the Bulls got through to the final of the URC. Congratulations to them. And yeah, it's interesting in the terms of what players are both sides going to bring through and give a chance to. South Africa have a huge test. I feel it's just building and building against Ireland coming up in South Africa this summer. Or Wales, not so much. But it's still kind of a test of Gatland's kind of strategy, because he is under quite a bit of pressure at home in Wales. So bearing that in mind, let's go to South Africa first. They have quite a few kind of selection conundrums in a few like key positions as well. So the back three maybe is the one that stands out to me because those boys who played so well in the World Cup, you got like Colby, Moody and Arensa, you know, have all been on fire for the last couple of years. They're all out. Colby maybe is fit, but I'm not sure if Rassie will risk him. Yeah, it's going to be a tough decision for Rassie, and that's where I can really see some newer players or like fresh faces coming through. I think Willie Leroux, who is such a, I don't know if he's underrated, but he doesn't maybe get the credit he deserves because he talks so much, gets himself in trouble quite a lot. But yeah, he's not available, I don't think either, because he had a HIA which didn't go that well, and a possible neck injury in the Bulls semi-final win, which was pretty epic, by the way. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how they manage the back three. I think that's a key point for the South African team. A lot has been said about the second row too, but I don't feel like that is so much of a problem for the South Africans. The guys are so big that they can kind of pump out the second rows. Moster and Van der Meulen can play second row as well. So I don't think that's a problem for them. I foresee Evan being captain. But the back row is interesting. They're not light in the back row, but just in terms of Rassie's selection. I wonder if Quagga will get a start. I think he kind of deserves it at this point, maybe at 6. But then Roos has been playing for, and I love Roos actually. I don't know if you watched previous videos, but I've been waiting for him to like burst onto the scene for a while. And I think it's only his ill discipline, which is part of the reason why I like him. Not really, but kind of. His aggression, let's say, is why it's cost him his place this far. So I'm really interested to see what the back row makeup will be for South Africa. It'll be strong, whatever it is, but I'm hoping Quagga gets a start and can cement his place at least for the Irish tests. And then on to number 10. I think one of the key points when you think about the 10 selection is that they don't have a long turnaround before the Irish tests, and you know, that's a big deal. Playing Ireland in South Africa, they're going to want to win both tests, so they're going to want to actually play with a backline which feels like that they're going to play with against Ireland. So I think he's going to go with the tried and trusted. He's going to go with Manie Libbok. But that opens up another kind of worms in terms of Libbok has had the chance to prove that he's a great kicker or a good kicker, but he hasn't done it yet. And rightly so, the South African fans are kind of concerned about his kicking percentage, which is fair enough. You can't argue with that, and I don't think he'd stand up and take it, but that means that they're gonna have to have a backup kicker, which gets into like other selections, like Faf playing at 9, etc. But I think overall the South African team is going to be like a lot of the mainstays, because a lot of the boys are playing in Japan now. They're going to want to get them up to kind of test level speed, and I think they'll play. And one of the most exciting players that I'm looking forward to seeing is Malcolm Marx. Again, he's been playing in Japan. He's back fit now after a kind of tragic injury during the World Cup. It's going to be great to see all these players. But I think South Africa, they're not going to take many chances. They have to in the back three. In the back row, they might bring in a couple of players which are kind of not as well known. But it's going to be a pretty conservative selection, I think. As for the Wales team, well, Gatland is back in charge, obviously, and one of the criticisms of Warren Gatland was that he has his favourites, and this has been big news in Wales, if you didn't know. One of the second rows who's playing in one of the lower leagues in Japan is Corey Hill, has been selected for the squad. It's all very well bringing in experienced players, but a lot of the Welsh fans were a little bit disappointed with that, because there's this system in Wales where you have to have earned a certain amount of caps to play for Wales if you're playing in a league that is overseas. So that was a bit disappointing. No disrespect on Corey Hill. You know what I mean? He's a workhorse. He did what he did. He did the job for Gatland back in the day. But so a lot of the media has revolved around that story. But I think from the Wales perspective, because I am Welsh, I'm looking to see how our like most promising players do against South Africa. Jack Morgan is back. He was phenomenal when he was playing earlier in the year. Unfortunately, he got an injury, but I'm really interested to see how he goes up against, and let's be honest, the world champions. This is South Africa's first outing since their World Cup win. So you can't get a stiffer test than that. So but Gatland is under a lot of pressure. If you the boys down in South Africa don't know, he's under a lot of pressure, and his selection, he's always kind of caught in controversy, we feel. Where people lost kind of faith in the Welsh team and the Gatland, the second era, was after the Ireland match, because they performed really well. Like Wainwright, I thought was amazing in number 8, and again, I'm interested to see how he goes against like a really, good back row, and I think he could do well. But after the Ireland match, where they played very well, a lot of guts, a lot of grit, a lot of good determination, he completely changed the team. And you thought like that was the one where he had to like start actually backing players. And then he's gone back to his kind of his old school selection. So I'm not very hopeful for Wales. I think they'll do well to avoid the stuffing, but it's also really interesting because Wales are like, you never know. I've been a Welsh supporter all my life because I'm Welsh. And you never know what they're going to do, but it looks like the writing's on the cards for Wales at this time. But we'll see what happens when the teams are announced. It's going to be very interesting anyway, because I think everyone has their eye on that little test series against Ireland. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Check out the other video above my head, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.